Welcome to Arrow on the Air. I'm Clayton Hester. Our first story this week focuses on the Center for Behavioral Health and Accessibility and their Health and Wellness Fair. Clay Harrell has this story.
The Center for Behavioral Health and Accessibility hosted their Health and Wellness Fair during National Suicide Prevention Week at the University Center on September 9th. The CBHA provided the students with de-stress and safety kits, as well as other materials students may need to help cope with stress and anxiety. Substance use counselor John Nemo stressed the importance of this event and what the CBHA does for students.
Because we can't have the contact we normally would have with students. So we have just a sort of a grab-and-go event. We have de-stress kits that contain materials that can help students maybe cope with stress, and then we have safety kits that can help them be aware of some of the risks they may face. And so I think it's very important.
Nemo said the CBHA uses events like the fair to reach as many students on campus as possible.
We try to reach as many students as we can. With the COVID-19 restrictions, we've had to go to social media and events like this.
The CBHA can be found in Chris Paul, rooms 201 and 202. Reporting for the Southeast Arrow, I'm Clay Harrell.
But that wasn't the only story about the Center for Behavioral Health and Accessibility this week. Madison Abernathy explains their efforts to bring counseling to their clients.
As Southeast prepared to move classes online during the spring semester, other university offices worked to accommodate students working remotely. Administrators at the Center for Behavioral Health and Accessibility used the 2-week off period to come up with a plan so students could continue to receive counseling without meeting in person. According to Interim Director of CBHA, Millicent Odiambo, counselors received additional training as sessions would continue over the phone or Zoom, channels that were not typically used before the pandemic. Now that students have returned to campus, CBHA will be offering limited in-person appointments at the Chris Paul Counseling Clinic and Scully Training Clinic, with Zoom or phone sessions being the most accessible. According to Odiambo, these clinics have taken heightened precautions for their waiting and counseling areas.
We are doing temperature checks. We are sanitizing our spaces after every appointment, and we are requiring all students who come into the center to put on a face covering. If they do not have any, we have some available for them.
In addition to other methods, CBHA plans to hold some tabling events and present to UI 100 classes to reach out to new and returning students. For the Southeast Arrow, I'm Madison Abernathy.
The Chris Museum at Southeast provided visitors an opportunity to fill the air with a little more music. Kara Lensmeyer explains what happened at the event that was rescheduled from the spring.
Southeast Crisp Museum, located at the River Campus, hosts its second annual wind chime workshop, allowing visitors to create their own homemade wind chimes using supplies that have been collected or donated. The event provided patrons with an afternoon of fun, laughter, and music for the whole family. Crisp Museum Outreach Specialist Gary Tyler led the event on September 12th for up to 8 guests to create their own wind chimes that anyone can find and use in their own home. Supplies include wood, fishing line, keys, old nails, and little bells that all come together to form a beautiful tinkling sound for your porch or window. Tyler says there is no wrong way to make a wind chime, allowing guests to utilize the supplies however they saw fit. This event was initially going to take place in March or April, but was pushed back due to COVID-19. Hosting the event later than intended allowed guests who wanted to come last year to experience it, as well as allow newly interested guests to create fun hands-on crafts. Events coming up at the museum include Game Night at the museum on September 24th from 5 to 9 p.m. and Heritage Day on October 3rd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For the Southeast Arrow, I'm Carol Lensmeyer.
That wraps up this week's Arrow on the Air. Thank you for listening, and tune back in again. You could subscribe to this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, part of the Arrow Podcast Network. Find the other Arrow shows, including Well Read, The Film Bazaar, and Decomposing. You can find other Arrow multimedia on our YouTube page, at Southeast Arrow. Follow us on Twitter, at Arrow Podcasts. Until next time, for the Southeast Arrow, I'm Clayton Hester.